Do you feel like everybody around you, all the writers that are surrounding you, actually are making progress and you're stuck? You hear that everybody's making all this money or getting clients and you're just struggling to get a new income level or to just get away from clients who are going to AI or clients who are not paying great rates. This video is for you, and we're gonna put on your new pair of glasses. This is something that I teach my students, my Wealth Lab students, about understanding how their niches and types of clients work together so they can identify their right opportunities quicker and they can actually get to that new income process with a step-by-step blueprint. So this is something that I think is critical to becoming a better freelance writer in terms of business owner, in terms of making more money, in terms of working less, and actually understanding how all the pieces go together. How everybody else seems to be doing stuff and busy and packed all the time, and you're still struggling to kind of figure out which blocks go where or where are the blocks, how all those things go. So we're going to talk about that. And the first thing we're going to talk about, number one, is your new pair of glasses. And I talk about this in a certain way. When you are refining your niches, I'm totally fine with generalists, but most of the time generalists have tons of clips and experience, and then they can use that to find clients. They have a lot more intel. If you're generalist, cool, go for it. But a lot of times I talk to writers who are struggling and they're ending up not getting niches. They're trying to be like, oh, I heard that fintech is the best niche for money, and it's just not true. There's only the niches that work for you. And I kind of use this four-way intersection. So when you're picking the niches that are right for you, you're picking your knowledge, your experience / expertise, your things you're interested in, and the revenue of those clients. So those things go together. The things you have knowledge on, right? The things that you know, or things you've spent time learning, the things that you just have a general interest in, or things that you've built knowledge on over the years, whether that's personal or professional. Your experience could be work experience. It could be projects you've worked on. Your expertise in that kind of same vein is types of projects you specialize in or things that you do really well, like your attention to detail. You're really good at interviews. You're really good at taking complex things and making them easy to understand. Then there's things you're actually interested in, topics or niches, right? Types of businesses, not just business, like food or travel or fintech, like I mentioned, or biotech, things you're actually interested in, things you want to pursue, and then actual revenue, right? Companies that have the revenue. And I talk about these as the connection point because they all go together in finding the right fit. It's really about combining who has the money to pay you for the stuff that you're already kind of pursuing, the things that are already in the vein that you're interested in. And I find for me that a lot of times people think that their knowledge or their experience doesn't apply. Like they think there's no transferability from a full-time job or from high school experience or college experience into something else. And that's just not true. You don't go through a magic elevator that just erases all your skills when you become a freelance writer. And you have so many more skills, attributes, qualities that really matter to owning a freelance writing business and accelerating your income than you can think of. There's so many different things that I end up teaching all types of writers from all different backgrounds and all different places that really help them get to the gold gem inside of them, or whatever color gem, you can ruby or emerald, this kind of gem inside of them that makes them shine as a writer. Now, these things have to combine with the types of companies. So the way to think about this, I think that makes the most sense is, if you like to write about food, you're not necessarily writing about restaurants. You could be working with hospitality tech companies, but you're writing the same content. So let's say you're writing about restaurants, but how they would use a certain tool to create recipes or the types of things they could use to run their business. You're still writing about restaurants and restaurant topics and food. It just happens to be that you work for a hospitality tech company. Now, I want you to kind of think about that formula. Where are we kind of combining our knowledge, experience, expertise, interests with companies that actually have money? So it's that you're writing the same material. We're looking for clients who are writing the same material that you would be, that you like to write, and they just happen to have money. So part of the research process is understanding those revenue ranges, right? I talk about them all the time. Startups need at least 3 to 10 million bare minimum as your minimum viable client. Right now, I'd probably say somewhere between like 5 and 15, or maybe a little bit higher just because of how things are going. And then a traditional mid-sized business needs 5 to 50 million in revenue. It probably is a little higher, maybe 10 to 60 or 20 to 50, somewhere in there. It just depends on your niches and who's answering your LOIs and the types of content and the amount of content they're creating. But we're using those revenue ranges to then suss out kind of this filtering process between what you like to do, your interests, your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, the types of content they're creating on their website or LinkedIn, and then also the revenue ranges. We're putting all those things together in a soup and mixing them up and filtering it through the sieve, right? So we're getting it out to the right clients. This is part of putting on that new pair of glasses. This is one of the biggest, most important concepts that I teach my Wealth Lab students. And it's something that I think really changed the game in my own business for me getting working too much for magazines and working for $200 here and $400 there and $800 here and $100 here to actually hitting six figures. It was a big difference putting on this new pair of glasses so that I could identify my right clients, the right revenue ranges, the right niches, the right projects for me way quicker than trying to sift through a job board or wait for clients to reach out for me. So a new pair of glasses is really important. Think about that formula. 2, when we're spotting these diamond clients, these gold nugget clients, this is the whole point, as we're learning the attributes. You're learning the revenue ranges, the types of projects, who's answering your LOIs, your LOI response rate. We're putting all those things together so that you can spot these clients quicker. This ends up getting you to a better income level quicker because you start seeing the pattern. If you track all these things in your LOIs or your pitches, you can see the pattern of what's going on, and then you hone in on the pattern, and then you send more marketing, or you identify those clients and reach out, or you send better pitches. You work on the process of getting into those magazines who are answering you. So a lot of times this process is literally just looking at the data. And I know that this granular part of freelance writing can be a little boring sometimes. I try to make it super fun. It's like this idea that if you look at the data, that's where your next golden opportunity is. If you don't look at the data, you're missing out on your next best client. You are missing out on that client who's going to adore you, love your work, want to work with you long term, and give you giant voluptuous piles of money. So we really want to make sure we're paying attention to what's happening, who's answering, what's going on in their business, how do all these things piece together. That will really help us fine-tune that prescription for our new pair of glasses. And 3, so when we're moving into our new income levels, we want to put in this step-by-step foundation. So this step-by-step foundation is really understanding the revenue, types of clients, niches, projects, understanding how those go together and scaling that. So we have this big concrete foundation that no matter what is going on in the world or how things are confusing or sometimes people aren't answering and sometimes they are, we have this concrete foundation that stays totally rock solid through all of the other external things we can't control. So when we're going through this, getting to that new level of income, a lot of times that information is literally in the marketing that you've sent or the clients that you've worked with or your best projects that you've had, and you're not really looking at all of the opportunity and you're not looking at the attributes of each of those things. You're kind of like, I completed the project. It's over now. Where's my next project? This is really important. The income isn't just about increasing your prices, which of course is really important. And if you haven't gotten my free pricing guide, go to mandyellis.com/free pricing guide. It's got like dozens and dozens of projects with all the prices. I always update it from veteran writers and other six-figure writers with rates. So mandyellis.com/pricing guide. But when we're getting to there, it's not just raising your rates. It's understanding the types of clients who can pay your rates. It's understanding that you are on the same level as them. You're not like, my rate is this, can you meet it? You understand from looking at your business and looking at all of these things and what types of content they're creating and how that works and putting on your new pair of glasses that these clients are in the same sphere, right? We're meeting these clients where they're already at. We're being part of their sphere rather than feeling like we're pricing out in the dark. These things are really important. That is a step-by-step process that we go through in the Wealth Lab, but it's something that I feel is critical to how my students have gotten success. They've raised their income by double or 9x, so 2x to 9x. They have raised their rates. They have worked with better clients. And I think that comes from being able to identify those things rather than dig around in holes on job ads or job boards or try to send your resume or all these things. It's your job to go find those clients. Now with your new pair of glasses, it's a lot easier and quicker over time to figure out where to look for them. Where do they live? Where do they hang out? What kinds of income, like what's that revenue range? How am I aligning with the types of projects they're working on? And then understanding that that revenue range translates to the prices that you can charge. That also comes down to a really important principle that I like to talk about, which is the value of your work. So the value of your work, I always love this pool example. There is an article that was put out by a pool company where they put out one article that generated $15 million in sales. Do you think if a freelance writer wrote that article that they're getting any percentage of that $15 million? No. So you need to understand that it's not just the transaction of working with a client. It is you putting out this work, it's living on their website, it's living on LinkedIn, and that can generate traffic forever as long as that thing lives. So your clients can put out a few articles, case studies, white papers, guides, video series, webinars, whatever you work on with them. They can put a content strategy in place, and they can make tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars from that, and they paid you $10,000 to do it. That $10,000 as the transaction is so much smaller than how much money they actually make, the ROI, the return on investment of content marketing and content strategy efforts, and also the amount of money that is potentially available from doing those efforts. There's a reason why a lot of really great clients are using AI as a tool. It's kind of an experimental thing. It's not doing all the work. It is the hammer. It doesn't build the house. This is something that I think I've started saying recently that I think is really important. AI is the hammer, but it doesn't build the house. We build the house. We put the floor plan in place. We put the framework in place. We put all the stuff together. And yes, AI can help us pick out wallpaper. It can help us maybe fix the right nails or maybe make some adjustments or do some research, but it ain't building the house. So I really want you to kind of pay attention to how all these pieces go together. We're putting our new pair of glasses in place to find those diamond clients quicker, to raise our level of income to where their budget is, and also the long-term value of our work. The other thing is you are trying to move into this kind of niche thing. You're trying to suss out the right clients. This is also why I created my cheat sheet. So if you go to mandyellis.com/cheat sheet, it'll give you the exact questions you need to answer to meet those clients with the right budget at the right level in your copy for your LinkedIn and website, how to suss out if you have a diamond client on a call with the right questions. It'll also give you marketing stuff, and then how to onboard. It's really critical step-by-step concrete foundation stuff to running a great freelance writing business. So I would check that out. And then next week, we are going to talk about our rock solid framework a little bit more. We're going to go into the things that pay off for decades. So this is kind of one part of that framework that pays off for decades. This is something that is repeatable, scalable, and sustainable, the process that I'm talking about. But we're also going to go over kind of this other piece where we're understanding the connection, we're understanding how to reach out a little bit deeper, and we're actually going through the process to get to a little bit more of a blueprint kind of level that I talk about with my Wealth Lab students. So I hope that this has been helpful, and I will see you next time.